Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Shutdown. So, this is what we need to know. We're going into a US government shutdown. Yeah, baby. That's what we want to hear, isn't it? Like, Congress can't come to a budget agreement. So, okay. We've also got the beginning of October. Now, historically, October they've made it into a meme. They've made it into a meme in the sense that everyone is automatically just going to be pumped for October. And the scene looks really optimistic across the board with cryptocurrency. Naturally, do I believe Bitcoin and everything's going to go up? I do. As long as everything sticks to the script. Now, I'm not coming to you with Mr. Negative talk, none of that. But there's an old Chinese proverb that says, add caution to caution. Those of you who know will know what I'm talking about and which book I'm making reference to. If you don't know the book, it's Japanese Candlesticks by Steve Nissen, right? When you're looking for confluences, things that all join together to justify the idea why price is going to go up or why price is going to go down. So now I'm going to break it all down for you just to help you understand the importance of why this month is going to be a critical month for cryptocurrency. We naturally assume that everything's going to work in its favor and send everything up, but we've just got to address a couple of things that are brewing right now that we haven't really had before, but they can actually have an impact going into October. So at least you've heard it here first. And then when you do go into your investments, you'll then say, right, I'm fully aware of that, Tino, mad love and respect, but I don't care. It's all about Bitcoin going to Viva la Moon. Okay? So let's get with the program, ladies and gentlemen, and break down this madness. So stocks end the quarter really, really strong. That's great news. You know what happened this time round a few years ago? It was when the unrealized banks' earnings and losses came in, gains and losses came in, the unrealized thing, and it came to around 256 billion, and then the market crashed. But that was when the balance was at 256 billion, right? So they had quite a few losses then, and the stock market topped out, and then it crashed in 2018. We're going into exactly the same story right now with unrealized losses and gains mounting to 556 billion. But of course, it doesn't matter because even though it's double the amount of what they had in 2018, this time's different. This market is cooked. So stocks end really strong. Now, the article goes on to talk about that we're going into a government shutdown, all right? And that's a little bit of a problem for us. It is and it isn't. It all depends on the duration of the shutdown. We go into it, and the problem that we've got with the shutdown is the fact that the data that we're all relying on is being delayed. But look at this. That's what I'm telling you, man. Data's not going to be what we think it's going to be. JOLTS job openings came in at 7.23 million, higher than what they anticipated. What on earth is going on? Higher than the previous reading as well. So the labor market's doing all right. So by that logic, tomorrow, ADP non-farm should be coming in very handsomely, according to the way the jobs data is coming into play. So now this is where we go into really diving into understanding what's going on. Historically, we know that October is a good month. Well, let's just back that up. Go over to this chart here, and you can see seasonality-wise, the S&P historically in October over the period of 30 years, this is what the average rate of return is. It starts off the month with a fantastic gain of average of 0.43%. And then, of course, it goes into a little bit of a pullback. We do see a couple of negative days going into that. That could be news announcements or any major events such as FOMC, of course. That's coming up very, very soon in October with the anticipation of the rate cut. But the problem we've got is with the Bureau of Labor and Statistics have come out saying that they're not going to release key metric data that we need to justify whether or not we're going to get the rate cuts. That's going to be a little bit of a problem. Also, we've got another deadline with regards to the Gaza and the hostages. Trump's given them a deadline and said Finish it, give them back. You got a few days. If not, then we're going to have a problem. What's that going to mean? Well, it means that we're going to have more tensions geopolitically. That's going to also have an impact on the optimism of October. I mean, we go into it right now and it says it here. Where is it? October is nearly upon us. Here's what it means for Bitcoin. It says here that October has become crypto meme due to Bitcoin's historically strong performance in October, but experts warn that there's more to it. We go into it and it does say that it's done well in October. However, market analysts warn that the reality is much more complex, with many macro factors ready to blow up the hopes and dreams of bulls. Do you actually think that the macro is going to impact cryptocurrency? Give me a hey, give me a nay. Just give me your views right now, ladies and gentlemen, because let's just dive into it. Look at this, right? This part goes on to everybody being optimistic about it. Look, you can see October's coming. Everyone is pumped. Start buying, selling. Anyways, and then you got red September because that's what happened. Everything has been negative in September. And then we lead into from October. We go into the Santa Claus rally. I mean, it's all fun and games, isn't it? Now, this is where it gets interesting. I mean, look, October will bring success. It will bring good luck, bring good fortune, mad love to the optimism. But we need to be very careful because we're putting down our money. And at the end of the day, no meme is going to solidify why the street, as in Wall Street, is going to come through and say, yep, because they're talking about it being so great, we need to make sure that we commit millions and millions of dollars because a meme on X. Let me explain to you. The actual story goes into, if we just go further into it, and it says here that KuCoin Ventures highlighted potential macro risks with the Fed policy and geopolitical events that could potentially nuke any October gains. It says here, for example, President Trump has stated that Hamas has 3 or 4 days to respond to his plan for the future of Gaza, which could potentially end in escalated tensions or peace in the region. Either outcome will likely impact the markets. So what's that going to mean? Well, it means that gold's going to keep on shooting up. Okay, that means if there's political tensions, that means the NASDAQ is more than likely going to suffer. NASDAQ has been a pain in the ass today, ladies and gentlemen. What an asset. Literally, what an asset. It's been a violation. I'm surprised that I was able to come out with what I did today. Shocking. All right, let me explain. So here we go. Setups. The setups that I gave today were very, very hard to achieve in the sense where if those guys in the Platinum membership took advantage of these plays, Bitcoin was the one that came through really well. Check this out. We wanted Bitcoin to come down and test this key, 112,329. We were looking for longs after Bitcoin was dropping into the vector candle recovery range. Notice the initial balance zone as well. The initial balance was within this zone, okay? Look what Bitcoin did after that. We had a projection of 114,182. Bitcoin came through wonderfully. Not bad. Can't complain. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Bitcoin didn't come down directly to the entry point. But I know the guys usually take the trades, give or take. I mean, it was $200 off. Can't complain about that in terms of an entry. But we had exactly the right idea, and Bitcoin came through wonderfully to come and reach back up to the range, okay? And it was all because of this story here with the vector candle. Very important that you study this story of the vector candles. If they mean business, the market's memory will get triggered. Just look at it again. Came back into the vector candle block, and then they made the reversal back up. About $200. I wanted 112,329, and Bitcoin came down all the way towards 112,659. I'm not going to get the entry to the T, but damn, it did a good job of that. Ethereum and the rest of the gang, they didn't quite do it because, of course, dominance on Bitcoin has come in. All the entry points were triggered, but Ethereum didn't quite make the move to the upside. We go and have a look at Ethereum, and you can see, like, okay, now it's making the move to the upside. So, yeah, we wanted to see that entry point coming in at 4,132. And then they've come in at 4,093. So if they took the entry there, you would have seen a little bit of a drawdown right here. And then the green vector candle block principle, happy days, shift out to the upside. Up she went. There's your black and white. It's right there. Okay. Now check this out. Solana, gold. What did we say about gold today? They bid gold down. They prepare it to bring it back up. Government shutdowns always going to pump gold. Said to everyone, only take longs on the breakout of 3,831. right? Look what gold did. Where are you at, gold? Perfect. V-shaped recovery. They bid for it. They reverse it back up. Wonderful play with gold. All-time high pending. US government shutdown. Gold pumps. Bonds pump. Happy days. Right? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Come look at NASDAQ. Today, NASDAQ, in my opinion, was rough. It was hard to trade it. Now, I'm saying it's hard to trade it, but I did come out on top. Today, I shared earlier on in the live, just before the live started, when I went to it, I only made around $1,200. Then I came back to the charts and the start of a new 4-hour candle, which is 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you're going to trade a time after NASDAQ does its BS behavior, consider the 7 p.m. UK time 4-hour candle, the start of one, and that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. We cleared the day today on $6,104. So we made another 5K on top of our earnings from this morning from before the live stream, okay? We did well to trade. Now, I traded about 54. I took about 54 scalps today, and we cleared $6,104 total for the day on my personal account. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Look at this. NASDAQ today was horrible. This was difficult. It was this candlestick right here that started the process for me. Just one candlestick is all I traded. I didn't take advantage of this full move to the upside. Nope, didn't trust it, okay? But it was one candlestick. Look at the treachery of NASDAQ. What the hell is this? Look at the treachery of NASDAQ today. It's been very hard to trade NASDAQ, but naturally you expect that because the market is trying to absorb what's going on. Today's data gave the market an idea that maybe the jobs data is not going to be looking too great, okay? 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, trade that candle. If you go back in the channel, there's a video on why you need to study this reversal candle. Just stick to that time. If you want to avoid the chaos, stick to that time. 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. You might not get a massive move like yesterday. Look, didn't get much of the movement then. But look, 7 p.m. UK time, started a nice little rally there. 7 p.m. UK time, nice big pump on that candlestick. The start of a new 4-hour candle. 7 p.m. UK time, little bit of a rally upwards, leading into the New York to the Asian session. 7 p.m. UK time, right there, violet vector candle recovery, and then it climbs up. When you're catching those starts of those new 7 p.m. 4-hour candles, right, you're getting momentum. Easy 150, 200 tick move on NASDAQ. It's light work. You can do it after they've done all their madness at the start of the day. Okay? Consider that time, ladies and gentlemen. Will you get the same thing with Bitcoin? Let's go and have a look at Bitcoin. Here we go. So what is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is being primed to make a nice little move to the upside, ladies and gentlemen. Any news regarding the government shutdown and its impact on the marketplace and the fact that they're going to delay the information for the non-farm payrolls, that is going to cause a reaction in the marketplace. Now, this is what I ideally want to see happening. If October is going to be a good month, we need it to start weak. We do. We need the month to start weak to finish strong. Collect the bids, reverse back up. That's what we really want. But because we've got this story with the Federal Reserve not getting the data it needs regarding the interest rates, and we've got this story with Hamas, and we've got this government shutdown, and then the overall speculation of the start of the new quarter of earnings, the earnings season is going, the bar itself has been risen massively. They all need to come through pretty well. I mean, look what the impact it's going to have. Government shutdown could delay new crypto ETF approval. Quite frankly, again, let me explain to you. Cryptocurrency ETFs are great. They just encourage or give the option for Wall Street to participate in it. Fundamentally, an ETF does nothing for a Wall Street investor other than speculate on the idea that the consumption of the coin is naturally going to lead to the price of the ETF to go up. That's all it's backed on. The ETF is not made of anything. Bitcoin's ETF is not made of anything. It's not made up of stocks. It's not made up of nothing. And I'm telling you this just to get you to understand that the ETF will be prone to fluctuations. It will shoot up. It will go back down again. When you've got an ETF that is made up of something, which means stocks, right? It then isn't prone to much volatility. Fundamentally, ETFs should not be prone to volatility. That's why they call the ETFs the money markets. And money markets are a very steady place. That's why nearly $7.5 trillion is sat over there. And we need that money to start coming into the stock market. 15 trillion of it is already in the stock market. We just need that other 7.5 trillion to start coming over, which means those investors are seeking high risk. When you plant yourselves in ETFs and money markets, it means you're looking for low risk. You're trying to eliminate too much of a drawdown. Now, going into this, I just want you to understand that, guys. Cryptocurrency ETFs are great on the announcement. After that, it's nothing. It's just no different to picking it up on a ledger. All right. And then what they do is they just give you this contract that says, here you go. This is an ETF for Solana. All right. Awesome. So all the whales are building up on their positions with Solana. And then the ETF comes into play. Awesome. Solana pumps. And then it crashes back down again. And then they just violate the ETF. You don't understand the impact, or should I say the suppression that an ETF will have when Wall Street put their claws into it. You can either buy Bitcoin on futures or you can short it. Okay? Now you've got the option to short Bitcoin futures and buy the ETF. That's Wall Street play. And it's going to be a hindrance to people wanting to make money off the ETF when they're seeing Bitcoin's price going down, Solana's price going down, and then they're going over to the ETF and they're seeing that there's massive accumulation. And they're like, what the hell's going on? Why are they buying? It's going down. It's going down. Right? And then when Bitcoin starts to go up, then they start offloading on the ETF, and then it ends up coming back up to the point that you wanted to start buying from, and then it drops down again. In my opinion, the ETFs are great for a cash injection or how do you put it? An endorsement for cryptocurrency, but it's just another financial instrument that the top boys can actually charge people fees on and effectively do hedging practices on it. The ETF is nothing. It just means that Bitcoin is being taken and held somewhere else. That is what it's backed by. All right? Big understanding on you utilizing the difference with it. As in, like I've said before, that having the ETF is a cheaper way of getting the Bitcoin, but, not your keys, not your coin kind of thing. But, it's better to buy the Bitcoin, of course. But what can you buy more of? If you're going to buy one Bitcoin, you need to go to 200K for you to double your money. Cool. If you go and spend the equal amount of money on the ETF amount, you're making change. You're making a lot of gains on that. A lot if it were to go to 200K. That would mean easy is $66 maybe, probably about 150, 120, 125, for whatever, right? So you're making a lot of money on that, okay? But never mind, that's another story. Stablecoins. Stripe launches open issuance for custom stablecoins. It's all coming into play for Stripe and all the other gang. Stablecoins. Circle. Let's go and have a look at Circle. I'll let you know on my trades, by the way. So, oh God, here we go. Right. So bullish ain't really doing much for me. I'm in a bit of a drawdown on bullish, but I've added to the trade. Okay. So $1,377 drawdown on bullish, but it's not really going anywhere. And the thing I like about it is the fact that it's not going anywhere. So it's not going down. It's neither going up. It's consolidating. That for me is accumulation, right? Lead trade on Circle right here. I'm only up $22 on there. It's holding out really well, okay? Whenever you've got new listed stocks, especially ones in cryptocurrency, because I've noticed this, any IPO that comes into play with cryptocurrency, I'm talking about from day get-go, right? What I've found is they always tend to consolidate after they've sold off from their ETF. From their initial public offering. Then they just stall for ages. That stalling is happening right now on bullish, right? So the idea for me is we might be getting to hear something very soon about bullish. There could be a partnership. There could be an endorsement. Something's going to come into play because they're accumulating. I don't know if you've just heard it or not, but crypto.com, have you heard what's happened lately with that? They've just got an approval in regards to allowing them to trade stocks on their platform. We gave you the heads up on that. They gave us the heads up on their platform when you go and use the card. All right, your crypto.com card says below, stocks coming soon. All right, we had plenty of time to start accumulating Crow on that. So you're going to start seeing some big movements coming into play with Crow with regards to trading on stock. With that even being said, you've also had the idea that the government or the SEC is trying to push for the idea of stocks to be traded same way on blockchain. That's going to be massive. Like, we're going into a massive change in cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen. And all you've got to just be mindful of is this: regardless of the news and information that comes out about crypto, focusing on the end game is ultimately what all of you are going to do. And you're just going to hold on just to see how far you can go. You are going to get a drawdown. You will. It will come down, but it will progressively keep on climbing back up because everyone has fallen in love with the idea of cryptocurrency. All right? I would say that when they say that the bull run's not really here yet, maybe that is true, okay? But when you look at Bitcoin's price action right now, you can say to yourself, is Bitcoin getting primed for a big move to the upside? You only need to just look at, when I say big move to the upside, I'm talking how far can Bitcoin's price realistically go? The best way for you to understand it is this: look at the time they spend not moving, and then look at how quick they move, okay? Best example is this. This is your longest accumulation period at close to the all-time high in Bitcoin's history. That's the longest it accumulated for. Look how fast it moved up from there. Look at how quick they consolidated. Look at how quick they come back up again. Now you've got exactly the same consolidation range coming into play, all right? But now you've got a couple of metrics that could be impacting that. If we don't get the rate cuts that we want because they're not going to give us the data, Bitcoin might actually struggle, right? I'm expecting Bitcoin to come back towards this point, but there are too many metrics that could be coming into play that could impact that. So Bitcoin really needs to start coming over the 117,000 to confirm the idea that they are going to break further and that investors have been accumulating Bitcoin here. Now, saying that, going into the BlackRock ETF, we have seen that it has been a little bit busy, but equally, it's doing these stupid purchases. But obviously, it's not BlackRock doing the purchasing. It's institutional investors coming in and picking it up in terms of orders, okay? So what they do, I've noticed with BlackRock, it's always 300 when they're selling, 300 when they're buying. They don't usually go over, but right now, we're seeing 300 selling, and then they've got 100 Bitcoin buying, all right? So I believe that what they do is they accumulate a certain amount of orders and then they pump it into the market and they buy segments, certain amounts, okay? Remember, they earn off the fees. That's all they care about. They don't hold the Bitcoin. Remember that. They do not hold the Bitcoin. They are an agent for it, right? They represent the ETF. BlackRock doesn't buy and sell nothing. They actually hold $10 million worth of Bitcoin. Can you believe that? They hold $10 million worth of Bitcoin. What an absolute joke that is. I've said this before. The stationary fund that they use to supply all their offices worldwide, right, is what they used to buy the Bitcoin. $10 million, man. What the hell is that? Manages over $11.5 trillion worth of assets. 10 million in Bitcoin. Well, it's smart. It says you guys buy it. We'll just charge you fees because we know you're going to keep buying it and selling it. So we eliminate risk by just giving you the option to buy it and sell it. You pay us every single time. Zero risk. That's why they have $11 trillion worth of assets under their name. They know exactly what they're doing. Makes sense, doesn't it? All I'm saying to you is October is going to be a good time. We just need to make sure Bitcoin can break above 117,000. And if you are accumulating in this, you've got to be very mindful of the fact that Bitcoin is going to be subject to the story of interest rates. As long as we get the data and we get the path to interest rate cuts, Bitcoin will sustain itself and continue to make the break to the upside. But if it doesn't, the longer it consolidates in this range, the bigger the breakout will be. All right. Remember, Donald Trump has yet to say that you've got a Bitcoin strategic reserve coming into play. It's now nearly 179 days. The audit is 179 days overdue. Yeah, come on, man. You said you were going to sort it all out. What's the delay? What are they delaying? Are they going to really announce it when Bitcoin makes an explosive move to the upside and they're buying it at 152,000? That would be wild. Now, everyone's calling for the 110K CME gap. Well, if it comes to it, it comes to it. It's only down there. Doesn't mean anything. But you've got to factor in interest rates, changes in fiscal policy, inflation, all right? But we do have a pro-crypto friendly administration. That's going to help things in the longer run. All right. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? My eyes are flipping fried. Tina, what do you think about 2026? Could be a commodity bull run. Lots of precious metals are in great buying zones. I believe that's already happening, my friend. You understand gold has outperformed Bitcoin massively. I mean, look, it's like 47% up. What do you want me to say to you? My price projections on gold were $3,000. We smacked it. Next one is the 4,000, near enough there. My other one was silver at $50, near enough there. Okay. And I was telling you guys that when it was at $19. Just go back and look at the live streams. All right. $19, ladies and gentlemen. $19. That's where it was at when we were talking about it. All right. You go to Costco, right? And I did this. You can go and buy a kilogram of silver, right? I was paying £325 for that from Costco, right? Picked up a handsome amount. Go now and look at how much it's worth. It's like nearly £1,500. That's silver. Just going and buying the bars. And we were saying that we're going into an AI era. They need silver. They need gold. So we're automatically going to be expecting it's going to come up. And silver has been taking forever, but when it moves, it moves. But the problem is when commodities run up so much, it's telling you something. Maybe Bitcoin is not performing the way gold is performing because investors are not going to Bitcoin for the hedge. Remember, gold is zero yielding. So why on earth are they going into it? They think the markets are going to go slump. They're hedging themselves. Gold historically does that. It's the necessary weapon against inflation, against recession. All right? And when you see gold and silver moving up like this is all backed on AI. But the speed of their price movement is because there's something brewing. All right? Is Bitcoin giving us the clue about the state, or should I say the optimism in crypto? Because if Wall Street wanted Bitcoin, they would have had it and it would have been going up like crazy. All right? Why are they going into gold and silver? Isn't Bitcoin the hedge against inflation? I think they're not going into it because it just moves too aggressively. That's all. It's not easy on the books. All right? But gold and silver, they give you the clue. They really do give you the clue where we are economically speaking, in my opinion. Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin is zero yield. Yes, it is. All right. But then again, you've got the idea of store of value. I mean, gold is a store of value. And you only go into gold just so that you avoid the problem of inflation and maintain your purchasing power as well. Bitcoin is exactly the same. But Bitcoin's purchasing power changes so aggressively. That's the problem. You know? Parabolic, baby. Intel just got new chips from ASML. ASML. Those who know. New chips from ASML. This company decides who can make chips. Do you understand that? They decide. If you're going to invest in a company, it's this one. Because they decide who can make chips. NVIDIA's knocking on their door. They don't knock on NVIDIA's door. They have a machine, patented technology, only one available in the world. They made it. And it makes the chips for NVIDIA, right? For every other company. These guys decide who can do AI. As long as these guys are performing and they're doing well, then, ladies and gentlemen, these guys, your NVIDIAs will be great, all right? We're all paying attention to, NVIDIA in China and all that stuff. You want to make sure this company is holding out very, very well. You want to protect this company with your dear lives. Because if you hold NVIDIA stock, Microsoft, Intel, Apple, Meta, all right? If there was a mafia, ASML would be the godfather. It really would. You look at it now, but it's just so under the radar. No one pays attention to it. But it is nearly $968 a share, all right? It's a quiet one. Very Dutch manufacturer. Can't even say it. Lithography systems used in fabrication of integrated circuits. What on earth is that? Basically, your motherboards that NVIDIA sells. Brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. GLID stock. Yes, I can look at that. Here we go. You know about this company, yeah? So, Glade Sciences develops therapeutics to treat viral, fungal, respiratory, and cardiovascular diseases. Listen, when it comes to, if you're going to focus on any biomedical stocks, okay, and you have a genuine interest in biology, okay, here's a little bit of a tip. Take any of these companies, develops therapeutics to treat fungal, respiratory, cardiovascular diseases. Go and find another company that focuses on anything in relation to treating cancer. Go and find another one that has anything related to treating to diabetes, right? Those are the biological stocks. Then this is all about how you split up your investments and understand the concept of the cousin theory in the stock market, all right? And that is effectively based on the sectors, okay? If you've got biological stocks like this one here, where it develops therapeutics to treat viral and fungal and what have you, you got another one for diabetes, you got another one for cancer, you got another one for anyone with spinal injuries or anything like that, okay? The biological companies, right? You take those. Once you've got those, then ask yourself, where are we right now in the realm of science? All right. Well, we need computers to operate things in biology. All right. So you then say to yourself, okay, then if these companies are treating the biology stuff, right, they're trying to find ways of improving it, where are they naturally going to go? Well, if you look at this company here, they spend 20.5% on research and development. They are 129% in debt, but they spend about 20.5% of their balances and what have you on their cash books to research and development. Is that a tax thing? Maybe, maybe not. But they do invest in trying to improve the way they do business. Where am I going with this? Biological connected stocks, right? That treat something. Go to another sector that could facilitate the speed that they can do that. How would they do it? Maybe they could get involved in a company that makes a machine that allows them to mix products together to create the service or therapeutics to treat fungal and respiratory systems. You don't know. Maybe robotics could be coming into play, okay? But what you've got to do with every stock that you invest in, look at the industry or sector that could supplement it and keep that business going, okay? And when you do that, you then have yourself this portfolio of stocks that are working for each other. So if you've got the company biologically speaking that provides benefit to anyone that has diabetes, then you go to another company that says that they're getting into bed with medical companies to help them create a product that allows them to do something based off their service, their computer or their robot that's going to make that company's life a lot easier, and they're waiting for the FDA to approve it and what have you. You've got now two companies that you can work with and say, okay, if he gets success at that, his share price is going to go up, interest is going to go over there, and then you've got this company that's going to do benefit as well. This company right here is going to be thinking, yeah, maybe 20% on their research and development. Are they more likely to go and have a look at how they can improve the way they do their business? 4,242 funds wouldn't be trading that if they didn't believe that this company is trying to expand on its business. All right? That's how you don't just pick a stock because you heard some dude talking about it when you were waiting in a Starbucks queue and he just had a nice pair of shoes on. Forget that. All right? There's logic to understanding the sectors and industries. Okay? AI. You can either go on the product that they're selling or you can go on the commodity that they need to create it. That's why we were saying back then when AI was booming, get into gold, get into silver. Why? Because they need that stuff. And then on top of that, we know gold and silver is recessionary proof, inflationary proof, and it gives us a clue. And now look at gold and silver. You got NVIDIA, you buy NVIDIA stock, then you can go over to gold stocks, you can go to silver stocks, mining companies or silver mining companies. Look at how often they're extracting the silver, extracting the gold. You know that if they're doing a lot more of that, it means there's a lot more demand in terms of AI and computers that require those conductors so that they can operate these computers, gold and silver. And then don't forget about the macroeconomic events that could be impacting the price of gold and silver. So you're getting win-win each time. It's not just so easy to just pick a stock and just run with it. You've got to run that story so that you can then say, yeah, I'm justified in my understanding of why I should buy this. I can make the story come up. That's what Warren Buffett does. That's how you create value in your portfolio, in my opinion. Any other questions? So they will bring price back down again on crypto? Probably will. Would you rather see someone put 5K into 5 stocks that are related or 5 different industries? If you go 5 different industries, then it's literally a gamble. Take the industry itself. Do the work. Pick an industry, okay? Science, biomedical, okay? Right now, the government shutdown is leading to people going in and getting rid of defense-based stocks, okay? That's what they're doing. But we're seeing on the ETFs that people are starting to accumulate ETFs in defense-based stocks, all right? Pretty weird that they're doing that, all right? Because usually you go into them when things are a little bit concerning. In other words, it's being forced to mark everything lower because they expect that the shutdown ain't going to be happening for too long, all right? So they're coming down because everyone's going into other assets like commodities because they're scared of this shutdown thing. But it's a short-term thing, so it's a rotation, all right? But take an industry and say, like I just said now, medical, all right? What part of medical science are you looking into? Are you going into robotics, intuitive surgical? Start there, okay? And then look at robot. Viscera Surgical as well, another company that makes micro robotics, all right? Take those 2 companies together before you bang your 5K into it. Take those 2 companies together. Look at the technology that they need. Do they need electro semiconductors? Is there a company that they already work with? Because you can find out this information. They are public, okay? Take that information and say, what was the last contract that they signed with a provider to supply them the materials to actually build these robots? What's that company's name? You can answer that name. Okay, you've now got yourself an industry and you can then start deciphering that 5K. But going into 5 different industries, you're just hoping and basically you're relying on the bigger picture to work out in the end. But that's dead. You can't do that. All right. In my opinion, defense-based stocks, aerospace and what have you, and treasury ETFs and medical and consumer staples as well. Don't get twisted with that. And utilities, they always do well regardless of the economy. It's just how you balance it around, in my opinion. Getting 16K this week, 50-50 stocks and crypto. Don't do that. Don't do that. Came here for the clickbait picture, stayed for the Tino Bear. Don't. Then you talk about Bitcoin dominance and what it would mean if it shoots up for the alts and so on. Can see a drop to 58 or pump to 60. In my opinion, Bitcoin dominance is going to rip. It's going to rip. Do you remember last week, your altcoin dominance, not last week, but a couple of weeks ago, your altcoin dominance was at 88, right? And everyone was like, altcoin season, happy days. Then it went down to 63. And then everyone was like kind of quiet about altcoins. Now everything's all good. Whatever you can do in your altcoins, take what you can. But in my opinion, Bitcoin dominance is going to shoot up. That's my logic. It's going to shoot. I believe it's going to surpass 62, even 63, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, if I go by the logic of when they transacted off from it, I expect them to start coming back into these zones. You've seen me mark these zones before, guys, and they always end up coming back into them. You only need to go back historically what we were looking at with Bitcoin dominance before, and I've been marking these levels. I know you know it because I've had it on my live streams and you've seen it before, okay? But we're gonna see some very interesting flavor in Bitcoin dominance. Your altcoins are gonna get smacked about, but again, what can I say to you? It's the name of the game. It's going to move back up, in my opinion. Anyways, can you talk about the new EFT rule? EFT rule, so it's easy to get ETF for coins. I haven't actually even dived into that, to be fair. Tino, how much does it cost for a moderator? They can ban people that makes comments that are completely irrelevant. I don't know. There was a cost. So basically, the last rip of alts was alt season, pretty much, in my opinion. Has Sol topped out? Listen, Solana, right, in my opinion, it's all right. The only way that Solana's going to pop, okay, is the ETF. Once the ETF comes in and they sweep this high, then that's it. It's done. All right. I think that's going to be the case for it because the ETF is then going to be allowing investors to hedge it and play that game. But if it doesn't get the success that Ethereum and Bitcoin did, well, it's just going to be a matter of time before it does keep going up. But the problem with Solana is all about the meme coin market. All right. That's truly what that is. The meme coin story. The more people are creating meme coins, and depending on which one gets most traction, you're going to see Solana move. So I've said that before. You know, that last all-time high up here, back in January, that was a crazy time, obviously, with Donald Trump and all of that stuff. It was a wild time. All right. So that is what caused Solana to just make those wild gains. So just focus on the meme coin market, in my opinion. So yeah, I did a practice account today of 150K and gained over 10K on copper minis. Hybrid system combined with Livermore principles, lit. Happy days. What about Chronos? Still the same as the rest of alts? Chronos is probably one of, I mean, obviously there are other altcoins out there that have performed really, really well and have the prospect of performing really, really well. But you've got to understand, again, I see coins in cryptocurrency the way I see stocks. Okay? Look. Can you get this information from a crypto coin? Can you get earnings per share? No. Can you get earnings per share growth rate? No. Can you get price earnings ratio? No. Forward price earnings ratio? No. 5-year PE range? No. Return on equity? No. Cash flow? No. Debt? No. R&D? No. Fund ownership? No. Quarterly earnings, quarterly sales? No. You can't get any of that with certain crypto coins. You're having to rely on the company that is going to maintain it. What real metrics do you use to monitor whether a coin is going to be good or not? You're focusing on the developers. You're looking at the white paper. What's the roadmap? And then you're hoping for the best. You're hoping for endorsement. You're hoping for involvement. And you're hoping for people to just take on the coin. Okay? So if you can't get that information from an altcoin, okay, what do you need the altcoin to do for it to go in your favor? You're relying on altcoin season. Okay, cool. If you don't have this information, then you got to ask yourself the question why it's not moving up in the first place. Why are they not committing too much liquidity to it? Go over to Binance, okay? Look at that. That itself, BNB coin. Where is BNB coin? I had it up here. Here we go. There you go. There's utility with it, all right? It's an ecosystem. You naturally expect it, but it is, again, $1,000. And most altcoins are in there 10 cents, 50 cents, 25 cents, XRP, 0 cents, okay? You like that one? That made me laugh. XRP 0 cents. It really is. But yeah, just look at that. Made me laugh. That's cheered me up. What have I just shown you? Yeah, that was anyways, never mind. All right, Tia, what platforms do you use to look at your stock information? Is it a paid service? Yes, it is. That is Investors Business Daily. It is quite a dear platform. I pay for everything on this. This one is around $150 a month. And then I've got the actual watch lists and the market surge as well. That's another about $300-400 a month when you use all of their services. Okay, but it just gives me absolutely everything that I need. Absolutely everything for stocks. You know, and I'm using it quite extensively because we're going into the game of quantum computing and robotics. And yeah, that's something that I talk about with the Platinum members. I'm revealing the stock lists and what I'm looking out for in regards to quantum computing. So I gave that to them on Monday, what I'm expecting from this list of stocks. And then as more come up, I'm going to be talking about it and then start buying them and then letting the guys know, and then they can just go forth and do what they need to do with it. All right. It's not financial advice, just common sense. There's a new market. It's quantum. It's starting to evolve. I want to be a part of it. Humanoid robotics, NVIDIA talking about it. They're going to put money towards it. Happy days. If anyone can do a live stream for me, I'm going to invest in a company that will do it. So yeah. Humanoid robotics, mad love and respect. Again, everything you need on the hybrid system is on the Traders Reality website. Go to the homepage, guys. That's where you can join the Discord. The Discord link is on the homepage of the website. Get involved. It's free of charge to do that. And you can download the hybrid system on the homepage as well. Just go to tradersreality.com. Mad love and respect. Adios, motherfucker.